Hi, Everett. So I like the question, what is rationality? I'm going to offer my definition, and it's not a definition that's meant to be like this is what everybody should mean by rationality. But in my skeptical and relativistic approach to philosophy, one of the first things I found is that the language is polluted with a lot of terms that are not useful for for speaking about relativism. Um, Rationality is not really a term like that. I think rationality, as commonly understood, is pretty good. Still, I think it's kind of undefined myself. The same question, the same issue you're bringing up, that really you could spend a lot of time thinking about it, and it's difficult. So I looked into it and figured out what it means to me. What use can it serve me as a tool? And I think it's really simple. Rationality the root term comes uh, from the concept of measuring things. So I think rational thoughts are those which have measured whatever the rational argument refers to. A rational argument for the seatbelt law, which is on my mind because I was going to make a video about seatbelt and helmet laws. It is based on the fact that they've measured how many lives can be saved or not by the seatbelt. It might still be immoral on a libertarian basis or moral in a communitarian basis or whatever, but in either case it's rational because they've tried to size up the elements to which they refer, and that's rational. And similarly, reasonable arguments are arguments where people offer reasons. They don't terminate their explanation with, well, God told me, or that's just the way it is, or everybody knows that's just the way it is. They are willing to provide reason. And so to me, reason and rationality are distinct. A lot of definitions of rationality, of course, are based on reason. Are taken as arguments for reason. To me, they're distinct, but of course they work together rather well. Rationality is the part where you attempt to measure the things you claim. If you say something's good, that's not good enough to be rational. You have to say why it's good. You have to have a criteria for the measurement, because measurement always requires a criteria. You're measuring it in space, or you're measuring it in its effect on other elements of your system. And reason is really where you're willing to give your reasons. So a rational argument invoking reason, is a reasonable and rational argument. The reasons given will be rational. They will have made an attempt to measure things up. Measurement being a process by which other people can compare their ideas to you. They can perform the same measurement and see if things size up the same way. So yeah, I don't know what you think of that, but I think that's a useful way, in the sense of, if I'm trying to remind myself to be rational and reasonable, it means I'm trying to remind myself that I need to have reasons for the things I believe or argue or do, and that I should have taken some extra effort to measure these things and not just assume that they turn out one way or another. Okay, so since I brought up reason, I did want to add just one more thing, which is that, yeah, these aren't totally separate terms. I do think that, rationality is a kind of reason. It puts the criteria of rationality on the reason, that the reasons should have measurable elements. I mean, and another thing is this, I think this also shows that there's room for thinking about things that can't be measured, for the irrational.